Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are looking at the #1 reason so many complex projects go completely off the rails. And I'll give you a hint. It's got nothing to do with your tech stack. It's all about how people talk to each other.
All right, let's dive right in with a question that, well, if you've ever worked on a team project, it's probably going to feel a little too real. You know the drill, right? We're always trying new methodologies, buying new tools, shuffling the teams around, and yet the same problems keep popping up. So what gives? Is it the tech? Is it the process? Or is it something else entirely? Well, the source material we're breaking down today points to one clear culprit.
And here it is. The big secret isn't a secret at all. It doesn't matter if you're running Agile, Scrum, Waterfall, you name it. The things that really grind projects to a halt are the human things. People not being on the same page, messy communication, and nobody knowing who's actually supposed to make a decision. That's the friction.
So this friction isn't just some vague idea. It actually shows up in 4 very specific ways. Let's walk through them, and I want you to think about whether these sound familiar. First up, you've got misaligned expectations. This is that classic situation where everyone thinks they're rowing in the same direction, but they're all aiming for slightly different islands. So instead of tackling the real problems, all your energy gets burned just defending your own position. It's exhausting.
And oh boy, you know what this feels like? It's the scope that just keeps creeping. It's the constant arguments about what's really a priority. And then there's the big one, that awful moment in a demo when a stakeholder says, wait, that's not what I thought we were building. And boom, the blame game begins.
Next up, poor communication. Look, complex projects are always going to have some gray areas. But when we don't bother to clear things up, people just fill in the gaps with their own assumptions. And every single one of those assumptions is a potential landmine of wasted work and broken trust. You've lived this friction. It's that meeting where everyone talks for an hour and you walk out with 0 clear decisions. It's the email chain from hell that goes on for days and solves nothing. And my personal favorite, the watermelon status report. It looks all green and happy on the outside, right up until the day it's suddenly catastrophically red on the inside.
Then we have a true classic, unclear ownership. You know that whole, if everyone is responsible, then no one is responsible thing? This is a huge drag on any project. Important work either gets done twice by different teams, or, even worse, it doesn't get done at all because everyone thought someone else was handling it.
And here's the result. You have decisions stuck in this endless loop, getting revisited over and over again. Work just vanishes into the ether. And you guessed it, when things go wrong, the finger-pointing starts because, hey, you can't hold someone accountable if it was never clear what they were accountable for in the first place.
And finally, the one that might just be the most toxic of all, trust and ego issues. This is what happens when a healthy debate about the best technical approach turns into a personal battle of wills. It absolutely kills what's called psychological safety. And when people don't feel safe, they stop contributing their best ideas.
This one's a silent killer. People will nod and agree in the meeting, but then go off and do the bare minimum or even actively undermine the decision. You start to see little cliques and factions forming. The best ideas never get shared because people have learned it's just safer to stay quiet.
Okay, so that's the problem. That's the pain. And it's real. The good news is, once you can diagnose the problem this clearly, you can start talking about a real solution. And that solution is called the friction-free delivery framework. The whole idea is simple, but it is so powerful. If bad conversations are what create all this friction, then the fix is to have better, more structured conversations. It puts the quality of our conversations at the very center of getting work done.
So how do we actually do that? How does this framework fight back against all that friction we just talked about? Well, it's actually really direct. It goes after each problem right at the source.
What I love about this is how clean it is. Look at that one-to-one mapping. For each of the 4 friction clusters we just went through, there is a specific core principle designed to counteract it. It's a direct line from problem to solution.
And these are not just fluffy ideas. These are actions. You don't just try to be clearer. No, you use structured requests and commitments. You don't just hope people know who's in charge. You make explicit declarations of authority. You literally have someone say, on this topic, I have the final say. It's all about building new, more precise habits in the way we use language at work.
Now, I know what you might be thinking. This sounds like a massive cultural change. But the great thing about this approach is that you don't have to boil the ocean to get started.
The key is to just start small. Find one team, maybe a project team that's really feeling the pain we described earlier, and run a pilot. The goal is to build discipline in just a few of these core conversational practices and see what happens. And here's a roadmap for you. 7 concrete steps to run that pilot. And look at what's in here.
You start by officially declaring who has authority. You frame all new work as a formal request and a commitment. You even keep a public log of all decisions. Each step is designed to pull ambiguity out of the system and replace it with clarity. In the end, it all comes down to this single idea. Project success isn't really about the code or the timeline. It's about the quality of the conversations that happen every single day. And getting better at those conversations requires practice and discipline, just like anything else.
And that's our explainer for today. I'll just leave you with this one thought to chew on. We spend so much time, money, and energy optimizing our tools and our processes. But what if the single biggest thing we could do to improve the quality of our work is simply to improve the quality of our conversations?